to the Off-Grid family. Today we are doing the rocket stove part 4. I've done a few bits and pieces in between recording the last one and this one, only very minor things which I'll talk you through now. If you have a look, this is the layer of the concrete I'd made before, the fire concrete, the fire brick kind of material, and I've added just about another inch of perlite on. I also did put it in the oven again. I put it on very, very low this time. I think it was 50 degrees C, which is that many Fahrenheit. And I left it for just over 2 hours, and it did solidify. It's like solid as a rock. But one thing I had noticed was where all the sodium silicate had pooled in the bottom, it actually caused it to start bubbling down there because of the gases were trying to escape and stuff. So try not to use too much like I did. I went a bit mental with it. So today we're going to attempt to make some more fire cement, enough now to cover the top with a thin layer and the inside chimney and where the logs would go across the horizontal plane as well. I have only got a small quantity of aluminium oxide left. I got this tiny little thing here, and this thing is only full to about there. I used nearly all of it in the last bit, so I'm going to tip all of this in, and I'm just going to make what I can. If I can't make enough, I can't make enough, and there's not much I can do about it. I can't afford to buy any more at the moment. Unfortunately, all of my projects come out of my own budget, and so I can only do certain things at certain times. I couldn't sneak some more aluminium oxide past my wife, I'm sure. So let's get making this stuff and see how it gets on. Okay, the fire cement recipe is exactly the same. Play it by ear kind of styly. But what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to put all the dry mix in first, apart from the plaster of Paris. I'm going to mix it up until it's a little bit wetter than like a buttercream consistency. Then I'll add the plaster of Paris and mix that up, and then I'll spread it. So I'm going to start off with the aluminium oxide. This stuff is not good to breathe in, so just try and tip it out without getting it everywhere, and all the fine dust, try not to breathe in. Typically enough, that second one I'm putting in is super duper fine. That's probably enough. Possibly, as I say, playing it by ear, so I'm just guessing. Now the talcum powder, or the magnesium oxide. This I believe is actually toxic to some levels as well, which I think is quite incredible. Okay, now I'm going to give it a dry mix first. Just get the talc and the talcum powder and the aluminium oxide mixed together. I feel like I'm making a cake. Okay, now like with everything, add a little bit at a time, because you can't take it away, but you can just add more if you need it. What I want to do is I want to get all of this powder mixed up, just so that it's not all floating in the air into my lungs. It's not the sort of thing you actually want to put on a cake though. God, that's stiffening up big time. Okay, more sodium silicate. Now, as I have said in the rest of the episodes, this is purple because it's got indicator crystals in the silica gel I use. If you haven't seen how to make the water glass or sodium silicate, have a look just there. Click on there, it will take you to it. It's incredibly simple recipe and process. I don't know why most people don't just make it themselves. It's that simple. This is now the 5th or 6th batch I've knocked up of sodium silicate, and it takes me minutes. But this time I burnt my hand because I'm an idiot. But yeah, it takes no time at all really. Yep.
Very.
Yep. Right, I've got a fork now because I'm just trying to break up some of the little bits. Now you could use a mixer for this, like, you know, especially the little mixer I made before out of a drill and a little bit of wire, but it's easy enough to do with a fork. I have got whisks somewhere, but I don't want to get them all covered in this nasty stuff, because anything that I do get covered in it I have to throw away or only use for chemicals. Right, now that's quite runny consistency still, but what I might do is I'm tempted to use all of the aluminium oxide, and in fact I'm gonna use all the aluminium oxide. I'm gonna add a little bit more talcum powder, possibly some more sodium silicate, because I want as much as I possibly can get out of this lot. Now some people use it at this consistency, and that's pretty much the consistency I'll want it once I've got the plaster of Paris in it. I don't want it this consistency, then add the plaster of Paris, or we'll be stuck. It'll solidify too quickly and it'll probably end up cracking. Make sure you get it all off the sides. With any powdered substance that you're mixing, it always wants to stick to the side and to the bottom, and then you'll get clumps falling off later on, and you don't want that. Right. Right, tiny bit more sodium silicate. Bit more talc. Oh, helps if you open it, apparently. Show you. Right. Nearly there. Now when you put the plaster of Paris in, you have about 5 minutes of messing about time. Oops, sorry again. Before it starts to harden, because all of these chemicals start fighting for the moisture that's in here. And obviously even the sodium silicate, it doesn't want the moisture, once it sort of like starts to set up very quickly too. Right, next. Okay, so the next thing we're going to put in is the plaster of Paris. Now last time I put 1 tablespoon in. Which may have been enough had I not then added loads more sodium silicate. We shall see. mine is fine casting powder, and it actually worked out cheaper to buy 3 kilograms of it than it would have to buy, say, 1 kilogram by comparison, you know. Right. This part I probably should get my hands in and start mixing it about by my hands, but that's not happening. I'll get it literally everywhere then. Again, I might need some more sodium silicate, but I've got a little bit left. It seems to be I've made exactly the right amount of sodium silicate, but let's not say that yet because I'll end up needing lots more then or something. Right, I think that's all I'm going to add to it of anything. I'm going to mix it in with this spoon, then I'm going to use the fork to sort of just get rid of all the lumps. And then it's time to put our cake frosting on. Okay, that's about done. Okay, as I say, you've got about 5 minutes now before it starts to harden and solidify, so let's get straight on with coating the stove. I will try and record this as best as I can, but it's going to be quite hard to get all the angles I need it on and so on. I have to start picking and pouring again, I think. Oh, apparently can't get all the way around. That's going to make my life a little bit difficult. Things I do for you guys, hey? Well, this is a lot harder than putting frosting on a cake.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to turn it on its side, I think. Then I'll probably lose all the rest. No, I won't. I'll just keep making a mess quickly. This is so difficult to get done in time. When I thought about doing this, I thought, well, I have iced hundreds of cakes. I've put buttercream on hundreds of cakes. I thought, oh, this will be easy. But I've never done this inside a cake before, I suppose. Sorry if my head's in the way, but there is nothing I can do about that right now. Right, let's turn it towards me. Now, if you don't have a table you can absolutely coat in this stuff, then I would advise putting something down before you start, because my table looks like it's now got a bad case of white acne, maybe psoriasis or something. Okay. I'm getting there, slowly getting a coating on it. Oh, well, I better be fixing this table up very soon now. It's now looking a bit like a war zone, to be honest. think obviously I should have done the insides first and then the outside, but I sort of panicked, didn't have a game plan, just went with whatever, which sometimes works for me, most of the time does not. Right, how are we looking in there? Perfect. Now it's all wanting to escape the leftovers, but I'm going to lean it on an edge so it can't. Okay, so there it is. I'm going to now clean out the outside a little bit and then leave it to dry. Okay, in a couple of hours, once it is hardened enough because of the plaster of Paris, I will then put it in the oven, but I'm going to put it on the lowest setting I can think of, probably around 50 degrees C. Fahrenheit just there, and we'll see from there. We'll see how it goes. I don't want to put it on too high because there's still a lot of moisture in this and it will just crack all over the place. Okay, back as soon as it's dried. Okay, I've just tipped out the last bits that I had left over just to see if I could level off the top. It's not level by any means. It's actually much higher up this side than this side, but if I lean it forward now I'm probably going to end up losing stuff out of this end down here, so that's that. I'm just waiting for it to dry then. Okay, so it's been just over 24 hours, and what I did was I put it in the oven on the lowest setting I could. I think it was 50 degrees C, translation up there. I knew it would crack to some degree. It did every time I have called it that way. I tried to dry it that way. I think truthfully if you were to do it and let it naturally dry over say a week, I don't think you'd have any cracks at all, but I am so lazy, so impatient right now to get it done because this was only a test run. I wanted to get every part of it sorted, done and so on, and I wanted to light it, and it was supposed to be lit about 2 weeks ago, you know, but with one thing and another there's always been stuff getting in the way, so I haven't been able to. Sorry, looking at my dog. So today we're going to light it, see how we get on. So I'll give you a little look around of where the cracks are and what's happened and so on, and then I'll see about lighting it. Okay, this is it. I haven't cleaned it obviously, can't be bothered at the moment, but as you'll be able to see there are cracks on it, but as I said it is because I was too impatient and I dried it in the oven. What I've done down here, if I can get in there, is I've just cut a tin in half, and this is actually the tin I used to make the jar cloth, so nothing gets chucked away here. So let's get this lit and let's see how we go. Attempt 1, first firing. Alright, let's chuck some of this stuff in it. None of that went the right side. No, baby, that'll burn your face.
Why did you?
Because I know where to look, baby. See if that even lights, shall we?
It is.
Yeah, it might not stay alight, you see. Right. second attempt. Actually the cyclone effect, can you see? Don't want to go too close just yet. If that gets any stronger, I'll show you again. I'm not sure if I mentioned, this little bit here is actually to allow air to go up underneath. And at the moment it's way too big. It needs to be half that size, but as I say, I was just trying it out. I wanted a first burn kind of thing. Made it quite awkward for myself because there's so little room. I'm having to choose very, very small pieces of wood, like very thin. Now it doesn't matter how much I ram in here because you've got all that passageway for air. Should we test how hot it is? Now eventually I won't just be putting a bit of grate over it. I will be having a nice little place for it to for the pot of kettle to sit. But all tests at the moment. Right, off camera I'm going to just cut some bits of wood, so if you hear banging you know what that is. Either I just put in a wet piece of wood, or some of my attempts at drying the outer casing of this weren't so successful. Sorry if I keep getting my head in the way. It's one thing I find disconcerting. I can't actually see the flames properly without putting my head right in the way. I suppose that's just about getting used to the item, to be honest. There's a lot still to learn. Well, I'm quite impressed. I can actually smell the fire cement, which probably means it's cracking all around it at the moment, but I'm not too bothered. That was always an experiment. I was only going to ever do it with just perlite until I started making the video, and then I sort of got a bit creative. I know for a fact I should have left it to dry for about a week more, but I'm always too impatient, and I've wanted one for ages. This has been a project I've been wanting to do for, I don't know, 2 years. Just not had time. What do you think, Lily? Pardon?
Please let it down.
I've got nowhere for you to sit. On the floor, yeah? Yeah.
Ow.
So what do you think then, little legs?
Looks great.
Yeah?
And I like that thing that you put on the top.
That's a kettle.
Is that yours?
Yeah.
I like the little sand that she got. That the girl got. Do you want this piece of wood?
No, I'm alright, thank you. Oh, shush that down. We've either got boiling water or it's sounding like a rocket. I'm not sure which.
Might be boiling.
Let's try. Yeah, it's boiling already. I should have done a boil test on that.
one with a piece of wood.
That's a very beautiful singing voice, Lily.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And you have too.
Have I?
What a handsome voice.
Oh, thank you. It's very kind of you to say.
Is that the chickens?
No, that's the whistle on the kettle. It's boiled.